Now, what is a threshold? We think of a threshold as maybe like a doorstep that we step over, and we'll often refer to emotional states, the thresholds that they represent, that we don't want to go over this threshold or stay under a threshold. And by definition, a threshold is a level or point you start experiencing something. Kind of vague, isn't it? It's like you're moving, or the dog is moving from one set of antecedents into a different set of antecedents. They may not be new. It's highly unlikely in most cases that it is new. It's just different antecedent arrangements. And because it's highly unlikely it's new, the dog has experienced crossing that threshold, going from one experience into the current one. And because of that, they could have and likely have developed a conditioned emotional response to it. So it could be that it is a very positive thing. They really look forward to it, like that puppy coming into our training building, and they get excited. And excitement and joy is something we all love to see in our dogs, but we want to keep it under threshold. We want to have that excitement and joy be contained. So we could have a dog that's joyful, showing a positive CER. We could have them crossing a threshold and we'll get a neutral response. Like when your dog goes from the bedroom to the living room. They don't go in going, "Oh, I'm in the living room," right? It's the same thing that they experienced the day before. There's really no need. That's a neutral threshold. Now, they might cross a threshold that they might get a unpleasant threshold, one that might create fear or anxiety or overwhelm, potentially a puppy going into a veterinarian office, or a dog who has had experiences that they didn't like at a veterinarian office, which is why it's super important that we make those experiences intentional for our dog. So thresholds can be real or imaginary. It could be the leaving a crate or confinement, like an X-pen, or the release off a leash, or the release from the backyard. So that is leaving an experience that leads the dog to be allowed to explore or run or do things they like, which could cause them to get excited or overexcited. A threshold could be the threshold of your home or your car, like leaving your home to go outside. Depending on what that dog experiences, it could be super exciting. It could be leaving the outside to go in your car, or maybe leaving the car to go somewhere new. It could be, like my student, crossing the threshold of going into a training class, a veterinarian office, to swimming class, or just to a park that the dog likes to go to. The entry into that park is a threshold that evokes an emotional state in the dog, as does going into a competition ring for many dogs. What does going into the competition ring trigger for your competition dog? Is it excitement? Is it neutral? Or is it one of anxiety or fear or overwhelm? If it's anxiety, fear, or overwhelm, my suggestion is you might be putting your dog in the competition ring too soon. And honestly, if it's neutral, I would say you're likely putting your dog in the competition ring too soon. Dogs should enjoy going into the competition ring. Now, how much? If they enjoy it, like love it too hard, then there's a very good chance you're not going to get the best performance from your dog, because they won't be in their thoughtful brain. They won't be in their zone of genius. And so we need to control that trigger and make it be an intentional trigger that we get the response we want from the dog. An intentional trigger might cause the dog to immediately, "I'm here, oh, let me check in with you." Or it could be, "I'm here, let me fall back into reinforcement zone at your side." Or, "I'm in this new environment, let me offer a hand touch," or any other intentional behavior that you have created with your dog that they have a lot of joy. Because if we can get them to focus on things that we have our history of being exciting and fun, but not too exciting or fun, then we're going to have a dog that enters those places, those thresholds, in a calmer, more thoughtful state, as I mentioned in podcast episode number 258. But why is it that we get the extremes? We get dogs that absolutely lose it at one end, or dogs who are like, "It's a hard no, I'm not going in there. It's a hard no, I'm not leaving here," when they know they're about to cross a certain threshold. Why does that happen? And I believe the reason it happens is because initially we don't notice the incremental change of temp, T-E-M-P, in our dog. Or if it's one where the puppy or the young dog gets super excited, we might laugh at it and think it's kind of cute. Oh my gosh, yeah, he loves you. Oh my gosh, look at it. He wants to see that other dog come walking down the street. Oh my gosh, he wants to visit the neighbor. We don't notice it, or we kind of laugh at it because it's adorable. Isn't that adorbs? But then what happens as that threshold gets to be more predictable for the dog, the expression of that joy escalates. And it gets to a point where you might start getting irritated. Can you calm down? What has gotten into you? What's wrong with you? And you've got to ask yourself, what is the expectation you have of your dog right now? Well, I remember he used to like wag his tail and get excited, but this is crazy. This is just nuts. So my point is, we need to be present as we cross those thresholds to the body language, the temp our dog is expressing, like I spoke about in podcast episode number 157, when I was talking about your dog's body language. Because when we're irritated by the behavior of our dog, we have to ask ourselves, what right do we have an expectation? Have we intentionally given them a behavior? And if we have, and they're not performing that behavior when they cross that threshold, what is that message? Is that the dog being defiant? Is that the dog saying, I am very determined to get what I want? Or is that the dog saying, I actually cannot give you the behavior you taught me because I'm in such an emotional state right now?